Guys, I came to tell you something. And you want to know what that something is? Okay, well, I'll tell you. This deck's been pissing me off. Like, holy crap. Hey everybody, LeetSpeed here. Coming at you with a video today. DN video thingy bobber. And that's typically what these things tend to be. You know? That's just a typical thing. But yes, as I said, this deck's been pissing me off lately. And it's kind of why I haven't actually posted a freaking video regarding this deck lately. Because, heck, I had one ready. Then I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to do some serious reworking on this. And as you can kind of see, even the extra deck has changed quite a bit. But, yeah. Simply put, this deck's been pissing me off lately. Like my luck with it has been so rotten to the point where I'm just like, what is going on? Like, this hasn't been happening before now. It's just like, oh, now I'm going to start drawing unplayable hands game after game after game. And even the games that I don't, it's like, well, my opponent scoops after that. So it's just like, yeah, all or none. So it's really weird just because it wasn't always like that. Don't get me wrong. It was just kind of like, yeah, it kind of just like, it can kind of sometimes open bad because, I mean, I run high level monsters in the deck and I don't run trade in because I kind of don't like it in here anyways. But when it goes like back to back to back to back to back to back, it's like, okay, I am doing some serious work into the main deck because it's like, I'm tired of this. It's like, I'm tired of this. But yeah, there's a lot of changes, and I'll explain them more in depth with the deck profile, but you guys have no idea how upset I actually am about this because it's a deck that I've enjoyed since last year in around June or so when when she was called Talaya, and I wanted to randomly make a deck around her. And I was having a lot of fun trying to figure out, well, how am I going to do this? Because none of the new stuff had come out yet, so I had to work with what I had at the time. And it wasn't until like Talaya the Trees came out and me finding out just how useful she can actually be, and the fact that, oh, I can actually run stuff to make her without ruining the deck synergy. It wasn't until like that point where I'm like, okay, well, we have more options. And then when Chidubime came out, alright, we have a massive wall now. And then when Mathematician came out, okay, now we have a way to get Lone Fire into the graveyard. And he's a level 3 Earth, so he has synergy with cards like Junk Forward and Marauding Captain. Well, more so Junk Forward, because I could just special summon him and then summon Mathematician, get Lone Fire into the graveyard, then go for Talaya the Trees, get back that Lone Fire, and get whatever I need with Lone Fire. So, the cards definitely help, and then obviously Soul Charge and Lone Fire is like a no-brainer. It's stupid, but yeah. This deck now, like, I did some serious reworking with this deck because now what I decided to do, I decided to cut out certain cards and combos, I guess. I'm referring mainly to like the Shooting Star Dragon play. Like, I took that all together, so I'm not running Stardust or Shooting Star Dragon. I also took out Spore because that's another thing that kind of pissed me off, was that when I draw Spore turn 1, it kind of sucks because usually I have Spore in the deck when I go for the Shooting Star Dragon play. Now, granted, that wasn't what the deck was always about doing. It was kind of like a secondary option if I didn't want to go for a Flower Princess turn 1, but rather the Shooting Star Dragon. But it just turns out to be like, okay, well, I have a dead card in my hand. I have to set it. And yeah, I can't go for it right now. So what I decided to do, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm taking you out, and then I'm taking stuff like, alright, I'm taking out the Call of the Haunted, I'm taking out this, and this. I'm going to put in Instant Fusions, Marauding Captains, stuff like that. And I'm even going to change up the extra deck, so I'm going to obviously take out the Stardust Dragon and stuff like that. Even take out like Formula Synchron and stuff like that. I'm putting in like more rank 3s. I put the Fusionists in, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, we're just gonna go all the way completely. It's like almost like a complete rewriting of this deck, because yeah, it pissed me off. I'm just tired of bricking every game. Like, I brick almost every game recently, which is just kind of like, Well, why the heck is that happening now? Like, when before it only happened a couple of times. Now it doesn't happen as frequently, and I did a few games I even did a couple of test hands to prove it. Now I don't have that happen as frequently. Now, because I'm running more cars that facilitate the ranked replays, like the instant fusions, I don't draw the Talayas or Chitabimes all the time now. Only sometimes, because that's Yu-Gi-Oh! Now I don't have to worry about, okay, now I have to worry about drawing Spore or some other cards in the deck that I can't use turn 1, but I would rather have them in the deck. Heck, even a card like Dandelion, I would almost want to have in the deck at all times, just because, well, when I go for the Lone Fire play, I usually get Dandelion out of the deck. But at least Dandelion has utility even now, even if I draw him, because I can just go, alright, well, if I have a level 3 like Junk Forward, Marauding Captain, or if I have the instant fusion, I could go for Malaya right away. No longer do I have to really worry about, oh, I'm gonna draw, oh, I drew Spore, shit, what do I do now? Or I draw like multiple Flower Princesses because, oh, I didn't run extra level 3 monsters in place of what I could, in place of cards like Spore and stuff like that. Now I can basically just focus on getting out Malaya and basically make that a point, and obviously max out the Mathematician too, because heck, having like Mathematician and Instant Fusion, or having Junk Forward in Mathematician, or heck, just having like Junk Forward, Spell Striker, Instant Fusion, it's like, okay, now I don't have to brick as frequently now, and I can just kind of focus on getting out Malaya the trees, or going for other rank 3s as bait, you know what I mean? Because if my opponent sets like multiple back row, I can basically just go, alright, I can make this, I can make Soul of Silver Mountain to lock out back row, or even just to bait out back row, because obviously when you detach a material, you lock out a back row while he's on the field. So it basically means that I kind of, I don't know, it just kind of means that I can stop worrying about bricking every game, just sometimes, because it's freaking Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's gonna happen. But man, you have no idea how annoying it was. It was just like, oh, you get Talaya, Titanium, heck, 2 Talayas in 1 turn. Like, you have no idea how many games I lose just because of that. And make no mistake, like I said, it was happening a lot, not just a couple times, every game basically, barring one game, which, yeah, I won that one, just because I had Lone Forest Soul Charge, derp, and I pretty much win every time that happens. Well, almost every time. Like, that's kind of a no-brainer. But here it's just like, okay, with a serious overhaul in the deck, it just goes to show that I've had enough. And I guess that's kind of the theme, isn't it? And to be honest, it's not even going to matter anyways, because when the shut-offs hit the TCG, I'm going to start running into them a lot more. And Midrash just says, yeah, you can't really play this deck too well, or you can't play it in an optimal fashion. Because it's basically like, oh, you can't go for the Malaya plays anymore. At least not with multiple special summons. You have to slow roll into that, or heck, you have to go Lone Fire into a Flower Princess and run her over. But that's not that simple, guys. You know that. I mean, they're gonna have like 2 to 3 back row on top of having a Midrash. No, I know. Some people are like, well, they're not always going to back row. Dude, when you're playing like Midrash, you want to have some kind of protection, because, Midrash locks out special summons. Well, multiple special summons at the same time. So, it's just kind of like, yeah, it won't even matter, because once Shadows start being more popular, this deck's not going to, I'm probably going to stop playing this deck anyways. Or at least I'm going to try to get decent games with it. Or if I do play this deck, I'm just going to be like, okay, I can maybe side such and such answers, but it's just kind of like, this deck inherently loses to that kind of card, just because it's like, it's a big combo deck. It's one big fat combo deck. And it just likes to get to your Flower Princess as fast as possible. And Talaya was the focus of this deck since day one, because her protection from card effects that destroy things was amazing. And I wanted to make an entire deck around that. So it was kind of something I wanted to do, and for me to just start randomly bricking one day and have a whole streak of it happen, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do a serious overhaul on this deck. I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this. And I'll explain everything in the profile, even though I kind of explained things here. But yeah, you can kind of see that, yeah, I didn't brick, or if I did, it was very minor. I could still play on. And because I'm running more level 3 special summonable cards, it just means that, yeah, I don't have to worry about drawing in the Spore or anything that I can't use in my hand, basically. And I added cards like Phoenix Wind Blast, but again, I'll explain why I'm running all those weird options, because trust me, it's a freaking sign of relief, basically. Now, when I brick, I don't have to feel as bad about it because it doesn't happen all the freaking time now. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably happened to you when you play the deck, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that kind of thing, and I'll see you guys with the profile. Peace!